with a continuous support of our customers and a stronger growth in the business as a result of the e-commerce sector start to grow rapidly. In 2016, we see another strategic partner, Yamato Holdings from Japan, coming in to partner us both in the term of partnership in the operations as well as in equity. We are now looking into expanding into the Southeast Asian region. We have operations in Singapore. We have investment in Indonesia as well. And we are looking forward to grow to the other countries in Southeast Asia. Going forward on the GDEX future, we will be actually re-looking at how we are going to deploy our resources. Basically, the main one is our people resources, our talents, and how to actually become much more scalable in terms of business expansion, in terms of the speed of deployment, including our technologies and all that, in terms of our mobility of our people. So all these are areas we have to strengthen, and we have to find new ways. And I believe that the most important thing is the GDEX. Our company philosophy will continue to be strengthened so that all the GDEX employees will feel like a student. I'm a student and they are ready to go. I would hope that we can continue the growth trend that we have over the years, strong double-digit growth. Also, we want to actually see ourselves as not just domestic player, but actually going into regional markets such as Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, all that type of countries that have a lot of potential in the e-commerce space, that the world is going on e-commerce. So we want to actually build a regional network. Welcome to GDEX.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to this session of M Investment Bank's Power Talk series. I'm Carol Lee from the institutional sales team at M Investment Bank. We thank you for taking the time to attend this presentation entitled Delivering Package, What's in Store for Players Under the National Courier Acceleration Plan. This event is jointly organized by M Investment Bank and Bursa, Malaysia, in conjunction with GDEX Berhad. From GDEX, it's a great pleasure to have Mr. Teong Teck and Mr. Jerry Lee. Mr. Teong is the MD and Group CEO of GDEX and is the current president of AMAC. AMAC is the acronym for Association of Malaysian Express Carriers. And Mr. Jerry Lee, he is the CIO and Executive Director of GDEX. I will introduce Yanjin now, our analyst who covers the logistics sector, and she will take you through the agenda for today, and Yanjin will also be moderating this session. Yanjin?
Hi, Carol. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thanks, Carol. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're well and I hope you are staying safe in this current lockdown. I'm Jean, transportation analyst from the equity research team of M Investment Bank, and I'll be your host for today. To give you a brief introduction of our webinar today, Mr. Teong will start off the presentation as he walks us through the 8 initiatives under the National Courier Accelerator Plan, which we call it package, as well as giving us some highlights on the proposed new licensing structure under the plan. This will then be followed by Jerry's highlight on the latest development of GDEX, as he briefly introduces us the business streams of GDEX and the new business streams of GDEX and the catalyst for the company's future growth. At the end of the presentation, there will be a Q&A session. We encourage every one of you to share your thoughts and participate in the discussion. So without further ado, please allow me to welcome Mr. Teong to start the presentation now. Mr. Teong, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jane and Carol. Thanks for having me today. Okay, thank you for watching the video from MX. Okay. The 8 initiative in package being a job that is started from December last year, from October to December last year. There was an initiative from MCMC and also the industry to come up with this initiative after 2 months in the lab. So there are altogether 8 points. So the first point is the initiative is a parcel point network. So second one is the asset sharing collaboration with postman community. The third one is a parcel commercial vehicles enhancement proposal. And then the incentive to support the industry sustainability. QoS, there is the standard disclosure and insurance policy. The sixth is the licensing framework review. Seventh is the courier infrastructure network map. And the eighth is a national address system. So what the MCMC did is that they start out with the first initiative on the sixth initiative. There is a licensing framework. I will go through that later. So why they need to do this is basically to come up with a national aspiration, having first-class quality service for the rakyat, improve integration of the last mile delivery, and also a seamless customer's experience. So can we go to the next? Okay. Under the proposed new licensing structure initiative, there is initiative 6. The key focus area is from a laissez-faire to a sustainable model. So what they actually currently is for the last 20 years, basically the business have been basically running on its own. So a lot of courier license was issued anytime if anybody got an interest in the courier service. Yeah, so the thing is maybe every year there are some who went out of the industry and many more came in. So we have about 120 license at the current moment. And basically the licensing new structure would ensure the sustainability model based.
Mr. Teong, I think we lost you.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you're back. You're back online.
Sorry, yeah, the internet. Yeah. The key focus area from laissez-faire to sustainability model, and also the risk-based approach, because the industry is becoming more important, as what you have watched the video just now. The impact of the services to the national economy, security, and society is huge now. And also the licensing framework, they want to have a fair licensing fee. Also data-driven based on market intelligence. Right now, nobody knows what is going on for the industry. So the MCMC want to have a much better control of the market by having a data to actually monitor all the data involved. Also, the new licensing criteria. Service, there is a network coverage, parcel volume capacity, and basket of services. So if you look at the license now, it's basically based on license A, B, and C. So A basically is all the big licensee. The B license basically is for national service. And the C is basically a smaller service right now. So what they want to be is an N's courier, U courier, and I courier. So N courier basically is a national service. So I think one of the more important one that we can see is basically the post will be definitely a national courier. Yeah. Then the others will be all U courier, so urban delivery service, and you will the last one is the I courier in the form of the pickup points of PUDOs. Right now, you can see there's a lot of other players, like for example, MBE, Parcel Hub, all these will fall under iCourier. Right now, they are not being licensed. Yeah. Okay, next. How far have GDEX achieved? So if you look at all the initiative that we have been doing now. So initiative one under the parcel network, parcel point network, we are working with Popbox, Parcel 365 to use the lockers for delivery, Pusat Internet as our PUDOs, a project together with MCMC, and appoint more PUDOs such as stationery, handphone shops, etc. Under initiative 2 asset sharing, we work with Postman community, a special project with Post Malaysia in rural areas in Sarawak. Under initiative 3 commercial vehicle enhancement, we volunteer to work together MCMC, KKMM, MOT to propose electrical three-wheelers. Okay. Initiative 5, follow the new Garis Panduan term and syarat from MCMC. And initiative 6, we are now providing inputs to the public consultation paper. Under the initiative 7, commit to submit data for parcel traffic, infrastructure, type of services, vehicles, financial, etc. Next. So journey to be a national courier. Basically for GDEX, our aim is to become a national courier. So we look at the terms that is being under the proposal now. So they need to have a minimum of 50 million ringgit capital. I think we have that. Majority local equity requirement and also being listed in Bursa, Malaysia. I think we have met that requirement. Extensive network coverage and diversified scope of service and sound financial position. It also involved in the scope of services, domestic, inbound, outbound, domestic pickup. For the pickup and drop point, they need to have 5,000 points within 3 years. What GDEX have now is approximately 1,000 currently points. So we need to speed up on this effort. So what we have is basically GDEX have a digital point of presence. We have POPs and POP Plus. So this one we can replicate very, very fast to use other points or networks or any shops. We can basically online to us in a very, very fast manner. And the deployment is very, very fast as is digital. Right now, daily, we have almost a lot of maybe 5, 8, 10 applications daily to get into the points of GDEX points. So the distribution and delivery branch in every district in Malaysia, under the proposal, they need to have 95% of the total district in Malaysia. Currently, we are covering about 67%, and we need to have 40 new branch or agents in those new basically districts. You see, some of the districts that they have is not so much business, but it's important point is that for the national courier service, you need to cover the points. I think we can use alternative concepts to cover all these points. We don't need to actually own the branch. We can have an agent there. So I think it's not an issue to actually go and cover all the branch because to become a national courier, you have to cover all the 95 of the total district in Malaysia as what is under the proposal now. Next. Next. Can you hear me? Next. Okay.
Hi, Jerry, would you like to take over from here?
Yeah.
Hi, yeah. Okay, no problem. Right. Just a very quick update on how actually GDEX position ourselves to actually continue to grow and sustain our growth trajectory in the industry. So at this stage, at this moment, currently GDEX, we have an operation in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Vietnam in 4 countries. And we have started our investment initiative probably somewhere around 2016-17 to expand out from Malaysia. So the first country was earlier on was in Singapore. Then after that we went into Indonesia. So in December 2020, we actually have changed our name from GD Express Carrier Berhad to GDEX Berhad to actually mark the new starting point that GDEX is going for a regeneration and a remodeling of our business model to position ourselves to continue and sustain our growth trajectory. So GD Express Carrier Berhad, last time we were very focused on a pure play last mile delivery service. And of course, we have created some regional presence. And actually, the carrier itself probably is something very logistics business oriented. So the reason why we changed our name to GDEX Berhad is that we wanted to position ourselves to become a technology driven and have a multi-business stream kind of investment holdings company to leverage on our regional presence in Southeast Asia. And then also at the same time, of course, the last mile delivery definitely is still our core business. And we will continue to reinvest and continue to strengthen our last mile delivery, the core business itself. And to actually accelerate the growth, we need to have both organic and inorganic growth in the countries that we actually have created the presence. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the new business streams that we were talking about to actually fuel the growth, first of all, is of course new products offerings. We wanted to provide more comprehensive solutions for our customers, all digital based, because now we are moving into a digital era, and continue to improve on our last mile and logistics service quality through the digital initiative as well, to be more efficient. To service our customers better. And then at the same time, also building up new business segments from within the group itself to create additional revenue or profit centers to drive the growth for the group. And also to look into opportunities that can leverage on GDEX Group supply chain competencies and infrastructure that we can expand both vertically and horizontally to actually sustain the growth trajectory for the group. So on an investment perspective, we will be looking into inorganic growth as well. Like I mentioned earlier, strengthen our core business, and then our investment focus will be very focused on the cash flow and profitability. And we want to expand our business portfolio inorganically to accelerate the growth and create greater value for all stakeholders. And move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So we have in plans on our sorting hub. Definitely is to increase the efficiency, because it's an automated sorting hub, and to be able to handle more volume per day. That is in terms of the capacity, so that we can actually drive the revenue growth of our core business. And then the new sorting hub will actually double up our current sorting capacity to 350,000 a day. And we are estimating that it's about 20 to 25 million ringgit for such development. So at this stage, we are actively pursuing vendors and also contractors to actually construct the new sorting hub, and hopefully it will come online as soon as possible. So on the sustainability part, I think I'll pass it to John. He's the person in charge who championed this initiative for the group.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, at GDEX, the sustainability journey, to us, we are still a beginner. We are still a starter, for this ESG initiative. We aggressively embarked this journey. I think middle of last year. So we are still, at the moment, we are still a member. We're still a member of the FTSE for Good Bursa Malaysia Index. There are a couple of initiatives under this our GDEX sustainability journey. One of them is the solar energy project, which we are working with one of the vendors to install the solar panel on top of our rooftop of our building, right? And on our fleet side, yes, we are aware that the importance of this the carbon emissions, and we need to reduce it. We are migrating, we are converting the fuel consumption from the normal diesel to to Euro 4 and Euro 5 for our fleets. This will be under our environmental initiative. So on the social side, we also started this Happy Customer project. There are quite a number of initiatives under the Happy Customer, and this Happy Customer is also, I would say, in line with the MCMC, the package initiative, which is to improve the quality, the service level for the customers. So this is a part of our social commitment. And as Jerry mentioned earlier, the GDEX will be a technology-driven company. We'll continue to invest in this digitalization and also the technology. And of course, another important area is the data security, especially the cyber security side. We also put a lot of emphasis into it. And last but not least, on the corporate governance side, yes, we are now officially certified with ISO 37001 with this anti-bribery management system. So these are some of the initiatives that we embark on. There are still a lot, but these are the key ones. Hopefully, in future we will share more with everyone if we have more initiative to share with everyone. I think that's about it from us for the sharing today. Back to you, Yanjin.
All right. Hi, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you again.
Right, thanks. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mr. Teong and Jerry, for the insightful presentation. I'm sure there are more questions from the rest, so I'll open up the session to our participants now. For those that have questions, please feel free to put yourself in a queue by clicking the raise hand button in Microsoft Teams, and I will call your name before you unmute yourself to ask your questions. So do we have any questions for now? Or while we're waiting for participants to digest the content before they can ask questions, maybe I'll start off with some of the questions that I've gathered ahead. Yeah, so Mr. Teong, can you share with us, under the asset sharing initiative by package, what kind of capex expectations we can, expect from the industry players, because it's an asset sharing, kind of model. So who should put in the capex, and would they be able to actually get any incentives by putting in the capex?
There are many areas that the industry is actually exploring now. One of the areas is, for example, under the PUDOs, for example, the parcel lockers, at the condominium, at the shop, at the commercial buildings. So there are some operators or even developers that already start to put in, for example, parcel lockers in their building. So these are the type of assets that all the players can utilize. So there is quite many thoughts here, because most of these parcel lockers, they would actually rather have 2 or 3 partners, but not the whole industry. So it's still at the discussion, how are we going to deploy all this asset sharing. The other area is the postman community, because basically postman community is a project between MCMC and Post. So all the rural areas, because it's been unutilized, is only if it's only used by Post. So the other couriers can actually also tap in to actually share this asset of the postman community. We have a couple of areas where we actually work together with Post and MCMC to utilize and share this asset, so that we don't have to invest in that area. So really depends on how the initiative is taken on by the industry, and once the industry can accept this as a good initiative, I think the initiative will start to to run a bit at a faster pace. It's just like those days, the banks, they have these projects where a few banks actually work together, to put in the what do you call, the machines, in various places, and they share, So this is the same type of concepts that the industry is looking at. So hopefully it can actually improve, yeah.
Okay. Wait, before I continue on my questions, for the guests, again, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, and you can post your questions directly to our speakers.
Mr. Teong, hi. This is Shadida here from M Investment. Since you have presence in other Southeast Asian countries, I'm just wondering if you could share what's the business model like there, and if there's any ways that the business over here could be improved or emulate.
Actually, we have started to invest in terms of shareholding in the Indonesian company called SAP Express, when it's quite a smallish company. Today, it's being listed in the Jakarta Stock Exchange for a couple of years now. So the business is growing quite fast. And the same thing that we actually invest in Vietnam 1-2 years back in Necco. So our concept then was actually to invest in every country to find potentially a partner, and then we help them to grow like what we have grown in Malaysia, and then we can help them to actually strengthen the business model. So there is one concept. But the second concept that we have is how we able to build a regional digital platform, because 2 years back, we actually start an initiative called My GDEX. So we under this is just a platform. So we are leveraging our physical network, GDEX network. My GDEX is basically a digital network where customers just log into that platform and actually able to put in their orders. So just to give you how the speed is of the development. For example, we start 2 years back. Today we have almost 40,000 members in My GDEX, and the revenue is almost close to I think almost like 5-6% of the GDEX turnover. So imagine the speed of the digital network. So what we can do is basically come out with more initiatives like this in every country and leverage on our partner network as well. It could be just leverage on other network, even a non-equity. If we don't have equity there, we still can be a partner. There will be a very sort of a diverse type of concepts to the region. It won't be a strict sort of investment. You have to need that investment to be the network. It won't be like this. So I think going forward, like what we Jerry point out, that we are going very digital, and our business model will continue to change given the trend right now that speed is very, very important. Yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Could I just ask one more question? From your slides, you mentioned that you are an employer of quite a number of employees. So could you just enlighten us on if you have any plans on are you going to take care of the welfare of so many employees?
One thing for sure, I think we treat employees as our very important assets. So there will be very different type of employees that we're going to have. Right now, we have in Malaysia, we have 4,400 full-time employees. Yeah. So since 2 years back, we start to think, maybe our business model is becoming irrelevant if we don't change it. So we look at companies like, for example, Grab, for example, the new startups, they are growing much faster than us. Reason why they actually break all the rules. I mean, they don't like full employment. They like to employ more gig workers, basically they log in and then they become an employee. So what we have now is we also have a platform called Kita. Basically, Kita is a Malay word for us, like together, you know. So we have now like 5,000 Kita girls that is with this platform. So if we need sort of people to do our pickups, we can deploy Kita to pick up that. And then this concept can also spread over the region to help our partners to fulfill the deliveries or pickup if it need be. So we have a sort of a real hybrid model sort of a thing to grow. Yeah. So basically, you see, to increase the headcount, the numbers of people that work for you. So if you have a full employment, your growth will be very slow. But then when you open up your platform, so every headcount that come to you to work, then you can actually come out very fast. So I think if you need to, let's say, go to 50,000, 100,000, it will be a platform concept plus a little bit of our concept to actually achieve the goal. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shadida, for the questions. So meanwhile, if there are any questions from the floor, please feel free to just raise your hands. Well, okay, I think we have Anna. You can ask your questions now.
Hi, Mr. Teong. Thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to find out, with the National Courier Accelerator plan in place, how do you foresee the dynamics of the industry changing? Would you think the industry would be more profitable? The other thing is maybe we can talk a little bit of automation. And the third thing is I noticed that there's a lot of people who have started to come up with a lot of warehouses as well. Maybe if you can talk about whether you foresee there being an oversupply in the future or not. Thank you.
Yeah, actually very good questions. You see, today the environment is like this. You see, when you talk about e-commerce, what if the challenges is that customers look for deals? For example, 11, 11, 12, 12. Now they have 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7. So every month they need to have the sales. So the problem of this industry is not like those days where every day you have almost a fixed amount of pickup or delivery because it's to serve the business. But today you are serving the consumer basically, and consumer is basically driven by sales. You see. So all the big platforms, they will plan their sales 1 or 2 dates that is very important to them. So they have a sales, and the volume on that day may surge out 3 times or 4 times, you know, the normal volumes. So the problem is during the surge, everybody do not have the capacity. And during the normal time where there is no sales, everybody is under capacity. So sort of maybe they have more than the capacity that they should be, the industry should have. So that is the issue, is on the utilizations. Sometimes it's like you never have enough. Sometimes it's everybody is underutilized. So this is the problem of the industry. So for the I think for us as a player, we have to learn how to adapt, you see. So during the peak, you know, how are we going to deploy immediately more resources to solve the peak? And during the less peak, how are we going to use less resources? So I think this is what that is required to able to do well in the industry. You know? So the second thing that I can think of, courier service, I mean, the competition will continue to be on, because if you look at the growth for the industry for the next 5 or even 10 years in this region, I think the growth will still be very strong, because today, I think the trend, people like to shop at home, maybe also helped by the COVID. You know, people like dare not even see people nowadays. So the best thing is to buy online. So that actually does speed up the industry growth, and how the industry can actually survive or sustain itself. It's important that the organization able to actually cost down, basically able to maintain the service level at a low cost. So I think this is one of the area that we have to really look at by introducing more technology, more sort of concepts to actually have the scale as well as to maintain the pricing as well. So I think this is one of the things. The other thing is that how we able to invest in other type of services or products to complement what we have as a network, to leverage on a network, to able to earn more money, to sustain ourselves. So I think this is very equally important. It's just like, for example, the bankers, they have a sort of a lending, and then they have different type of products to actually complement the income. I think same thing for the courier service. I think for GDEX, we will continue to look at the investment opportunity as well. And those investment that actually can fit into our product development to scale up our development for Malaysia and to the region, it will be good to add in our sort of profitability for the group to sustain the business. So basically, you cannot only look at the courier service only, but across the industries. So to grow, yeah. Hopefully that will make us into high growth again. Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Teong.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Teong, I just wanted to ask you a follow-up question. You mentioned earlier that the regulators have given out licenses for anyone who wants to be in the courier industry. With the new structure of that N courier, U courier, and the I courier, will that reduce the competition, or will it still open it up to a lot of players to come in?
Yeah, for me, I think you look at Malaysia courier service, I think it's about the cheapest in the world, because you look at one of the delivery, right, to whole Malaysia, is something like 5-6 ringgit, in terms of US dollar terms, one over US dollars. So if you deliver to Singapore, as per se, let's say to Singapore, imagine Singapore, the delivery itself is already $4 Sing, yeah. So just inside Singapore, but when you deliver to Singapore from Malaysia, it could be less than 10 ringgit. So it doesn't really make sense for the players to behave like that. So I think naturally, if let's say under the regulations that we introduced as a package, that you need to have a certain compliance, and all of us know compliance is actually a very high cost. So I actually beg to defer some of the people that were talking about the package were able to reduce the cost further. See? But rather, to me, is that when you start to introduce compliance, in terms of the data, in terms of the sort of the service quality, I think our price now could be slightly lower than what is required to maintain that type of compliance. So for me, I think it will be a good start, with this package introduction, so that it can restart fresh to actually have a fair and consistent way of running the business, so that it's not being subsidized or being sort of it's like predator type of pricing for a big startup who want to actually gallop up the industry. So I think it's a good start. But over time, I think definitely there will be consolidation. So you don't have to sort of invest into so many hubs, So I think the consolidation definitely will come, and I think will be for the good of the industry. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teong.
Okay, Mr. Teong, I think you highlight some of the very important points just now when you answer the questions. You mentioned about the competition in the industry and how the players, are actually, putting a lot of effort in cutting down your cost to increase your margins. So the industry has been talking about like drone deliveries and stuff to reduce the working capital, and in fact it has really happened in the West. Do you foresee this to happen in Malaysia anytime soon, or what's your thoughts in this?
I think for drone, it won't come so fast because I think we got the experience, like, for example, working with Yamato on the drones application on the courier service. So one of the biggest issue, even in Japan, it didn't take off because to manage a drone, for example, in Malaysia, you basically need sort of a big investment because drones are not cheap. Second, to actually to fly the drone, you may need almost like a pilot type license, right, to have a commercial drone. So it will take some time for the cost to come down to be able to serve the type of market that we need now. Like I say, for example, if you deliver one items in US, just the surcharge itself, for example, during the weekends, could be $5 to $8 US dollars, just the surcharge itself. So in Malaysia, can you imagine? The total charge, includes surcharge plus service tax, is 5, 6, 7 ringgit. So I don't think it will happen anytime here. Yeah. Except for special applications. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, right, do you think that like let's say the market-based players, when they come in and do their own logistics, like Shopee Express or Lazada Express, whatever, because it's in-house, so I'm pretty sure that the cost to them will be lower in terms of logistics. Do you see that as one of the threats to third-party players like GDEX or other parcels delivery players?
Yeah, I think basically even in US, right, you look at Amazon, basically they really, when they grow very big, they want to have a certain part of the logistics to be owned by them. But still, they still use a lot of USPS and FedEx or sort of a UPS to do some of the areas that they are not doing as well. So I think the difference is in US is that there is not many players. Like in Malaysia, there are almost like 100 licenses over here. So basically, I think the industry, you have to evolve to how to actually work around with this platform to form that type of partnership that you don't need to overlap in some of the investment as well. Yeah, I think no one can cover everything. I think for me is that this is not an issue because if the product is not brought in, there won't be any delivery service anyway. So for me, is that it's a good thing that actually platforms, the e-commerce, last mile like ourselves, work hand in hand to actually build out the market at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, so we have some question in the chat. I'll just read it out to you. So there's a question from Vinesh asking, how much of the last mile market share do you currently capture? And how has this grown since the onset of the pandemic?
I think in terms of the total number of deliveries, we have basically lost some market share because there's a lot of these e-commerce players, for example, Lazada, Shopee, they actually start to do a lot of delivery themselves. And the other thing is that there's a lot of startups who come in, they actually price themselves very, very aggressively. So many of those business, we are not able to compete because of the pricing. So I think in terms of total package, we could be maybe around 10% or lesser in terms of total package. But in terms of revenue, I think we are still okay in the sense that our yield is still quite good. So in that sense, I think we will really look at the product mix going forward to see how we can benefit from the business. But we won't be totally looking at how many % of the total package that we need to do to actually measure ourselves. Yeah, I think the measurement should be how are we able to grow in terms of the total business rather than the total packages. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Since we are talking about this, right? Can you share with us your thoughts in regards to the asset sharing initiative? Do you think that it's actually, in a way, not so good for the players who actually run the operations? Because from what I understand, let's say if your peers want to write on your services, they will pay a certain charges, but that means that they don't run the cost, but they don't need to bear the cost, but the service provider who actually bears the cost, will actually have the pressure of low margins and actually high operational costs. Do you see that as an issue?
I think there won't be any issue. You look at say for example the telcos, right? There's only a few telcos in Malaysia, but then there are so many telecommunication players in Malaysia. So they can play at different areas and things like that. So I think eventually, companies, the courier licensee, they will learn how to actually work at a different niche area and able to work with each other. The whole initiative of this package, hopefully to have a win-win situation. We have yet to see, but I'm quite confident that it will work out. Yeah.
Okay. As we continue, I just want to remind our participants today, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and read out your questions, or you can just post it in the chat box. Are there any questions? Or meanwhile, maybe I'll just carry on. So, okay. Again, back to the asset sharing initiative. Do you think that it will actually threatens the incumbents with the assets? Especially their market positions, because now the smaller players can actually ride on their assets to expand their business in a faster rate. Do you think that's actually a concern?
I don't think so, because the thing is that we will start to actually relook at all the sort of assets that the incumbent have. Like for example, Post, they will definitely look at themselves. Like GDEX, we will actually start to look at ourselves, what assets that we have and how we're going to utilize them. So I think when a strategy is being put up, right? So the industry will start to readapt and learn itself how to actually be best positioned to take advantage of the changes. It's just like in any industry, when the rules change for better, in this case, I think with what I think companies that can adapt faster will win rather than is incumbent or is the startups. I don't see that way. It's really, for example, the warehouse part. We always look at the warehouse part is one of the opportunity. For example, for us, we start to actually go into warehousing something like 5-6 years ago. So we took a space in, for example, Maple Tree for 240,000. So for information, I think we just commit another 90,000 because it's fully filled up, because the opportunity of these brand owners to go direct to the last mile to do the fulfillment all the way from end to end is getting more real, rather than they do themselves, because the e-commerce, they need speed. So we will have a lot of for example, opportunity in those areas. And we can even start to look at, okay, for warehousing, do we have an opportunity to look at the e-commerce logistics assets or not? Or can we actually design it better or not? Not only for ourselves, but also for the industry. Things like that will open up to opportunity. That's how I see it. Yeah. We cannot see it like, oh, this is threatening. There's no such thing. You know, you don't win all or you don't lose all. So if there is an opportunity to look at it as a group, reason that the industry is very promising, I think that is the most important thing. Yeah. Whether who will win or who will lose, that one is another matter. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And on the initiative 7 and 8 regarding the courier infrastructure network map and the national address system, can you share with us more on what the industry is actually expecting, or what kind of implementation plan is the authorities looking at? Is it going to be like, you know, they will segregate some of the urban areas to some players, you know, and then they will have to develop the infrastructure, and then they will be, you know, the assets will be shared with other players, or yeah, how is it going to be like?
No, that you see that when you talk about asset sharing, at the end of the day, I mean, the concept is there, but it's still based on commercial terms. Is it how each player can negotiate a term with each other? It's not like the MCMC will force us, you have to work at this with each other at this price. It's not like that. So everything is on commercial terms. So the players have to work with each other. So to come up with a agreeable sort of commercial terms to work with each other. I think that's a first thing to look at. The second thing about the courier infrastructure network map is to have a very transparent sort of infrastructure network map for all the members, so that you cannot just tell yourself, so right now, let's say a salesperson go to customers, you say, we are all over the country, 100% network is already there. But now you can't do that. Your infrastructure network map have to be there. So if, let's say, people want to take a look at your network, where are you, people will know. Yeah. So I think it's becoming more transparent to able to serve the market well, to serve the transparency is very important. The other one is the national address system. I think what MCMC is looking at right now, the postcode, I think is have been there for so long. And some of the postcode, for example, one road, it could be almost like 20, 30 kilometers. It cannot serve our purpose today, you see. So I think have to relook again. So this is an initiative, I think a lot, hopefully MCMC will get more involved and more speedily to solve this problem, because the industry need a very, very good address system to able to perform its jobs. Yeah, because right now, for example, when you do the sorting, it's sometimes can be quite messy, especially if you need a lot of automation, because the postcode may not able to serve what everybody needs now. So I think these initiatives are all very good. Yeah, eventually it will be betterment for the industry. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have a hand raised.
Yeah.
So can we have Dini? You may unmute yourself and ask your question now.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I just have a question. Just now we were talking about the GDEX journey on becoming the national courier, right? And you mentioned that you need approximately 40 new branches. I'm wondering what's your plan on this? Would that be like physical branches, or could it be like more like a franchise model?
Yeah, actually, when you come to the branch, right, it does not need to be 100% owned by us. It could be a franchise. It could be a sort of an agent, but basically it need to be exclusive, you know, to be counted as a branch. So I think we definitely need a different type of models to able to do that, especially when it comes to cost, because I think this is an opportunity also for us to relook at our sort of business model, the way we employ our employees. So we have a different class of people working for us. We need to actually speed up all these sort of things. Right now, we got quite a few different concepts. We have a pop plus, you know, all these are basically people, like I say, is a points where we can actually deploy digitally. So the deployment is faster. We can use all these type of concepts to scale it up. So I think it's an opportunity in a way for us to expand because of this sort of guideline is there. So for us, we will definitely look at how to actually fulfill that ASAP. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Teong. Also, just one more follow-up question. I'm just wondering on like the main motivation for GDEX to become a national courier, because in line with the new licensing structure, there's also the asset sharing and Pudo, etc. So would it not be more profitable or less cost if GDEX utilize asset sharing using, for example, post community to get that bigger network coverage?
Yeah, you see, for us, I think we are also rather than just say, okay, we work together, we actually accept all the post community network, but we definitely reassess, you know, which is the point of the postman community, for example, in Sarawak, which area that is suitable for us, because we could have another of our area that is already inside this postman community. So we would not want to shut that down. So I think it's really still up to us to run the network. It's not doesn't necessary that, okay, because of this asset sharing concept, we have to close down our agent in that area if there is a postman community. It doesn't work that way. So, but then let's say if that area we do not have, you know, so then I think we can work with postman community on that. So I think that is the type of concept to basically utilize each other's assets in the stronger way. So at the same time, for us also, there's quite a lot of international company, for example, they leverage our network and they give our business to us. So using our entire network plus all those points to enjoy a higher utilization of our assets. So I think this concept is not basically new. It's already we are doing that, but now I think with that concept that is being an initiative in the package, we will basically run it a bit faster. Yeah. Do I answer your question? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Dini, for your questions. Next, we have Carol.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Teong. You know, last year in around October, the MCMC suspended the issuances of licenses for courier services for 2 years until September next year. So we are almost halfway through this 2-year moratorium. What has been the impact so far on the current players? And also, what is your opinion on how many players would be the optimum number? Thank you.
Actually, for me, the number of players is actually not really that important. But however, the number of really national network, that is the one that actually matters. You know, even let's say they issue 100 over licenses, but the real number of players, national scale, is I think not even more than 20. You know, so that it can be considered as a player. See? So I think for me is that more importantly is eventually when all this package, the initiative, especially when it comes to a lot of the requirement for the compliance, so that itself will have an opportunity for a lot of companies to relook at whether they should continue to be on their own, or rather some of them can actually merge, with each other to become stronger to actually meet the requirement of the what they call licensing condition. So the licensing condition, I think, is not so easily, like I say, able to meet, just like those days, when the regulators don't even bother. So now they are having a lot of KPIs as well. There will be measurement on this data. I think that itself is a plus for the community, for the business user, for the service user. I think that will be the advantage for everybody as a whole. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Carol, do you have any more questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, next we have Anna again in the queue. Anna, you may unmute yourself now.
Hi, Mr. Teong. I just wanted to maybe just follow up on one point that you mentioned. You mentioned that Lazada and Shopee wants to do their own kind of delivery. I mean, doing it themselves. But we've seen a lot of other sectors, they have outsourced certain parts of the business. I'm just wondering why e-commerce players wanting to do the delivery part themselves and not outsource it.
Okay, very simple. The delivery, the last mile point, is where the touch point between the customers and the platform. So it's the last mile that is important. So can you imagine, let's say for any e-commerce players, so if they don't have the capability of the last mile, their business can be hijacked by the last mile player itself, right? So it's very threatening for any of the platform players not to have a last mile. I think that could be one of the most important and main reason for that to happen. So for us, let's say, for example, what it takes, let's say, for example, GDEX to be a e-commerce players, I think we can also go up, right? So I think the opportunity here is that, so what it takes for example, a last mile player to make itself relevant in the market, given this environment, I think is more important. After understanding that all the e-commerce players, they need to have a positioning in the last mile so that they won't be at the mercy of the last mile operator. I think that's to put that straight to the point. So they need to have a place in that. So the importance of last mile is very, very important to the e-commerce players as well. So I think one of the important thing is that it have becoming a very important infrastructure for any country to have. And that's why I think MCMC is looking at this initiative. They want to have a say on the initiative of the last mile by introducing all this package. And Lazada, for Shopee, they also will be under the gambit of the MCMC, even though they are a platform, because their last mile, they also need license from MCMC. So they will also be regulated under Lazada Express and Shopee Express. So if they were to do their last mile. So which I think is a very good initiative for that. But I think the e-commerce will continue to basically put more focus onto the last mile, because this is something that they cannot afford not to have. So for us, I think we realize that what is that for us, and we see how to expand into those areas that mean a lot to our business as well. So it's a good sort of a certainty with all these package initiative, that I think we are more committed to put in more investment. So I think GDEX over the last few years, we have not been aggressively looking at investment and all that. So from this initiative, definitely will be putting more aggressive stand into investment into making the group more sort of into the business and able to compete effectively. Yeah.
Mr. Teong, I just wanted to follow up. How do you maybe help the likes of Lazada, Shopee, or any e-commerce player to feel not threatened? Would there be a way to overcome this?
You see,
Yeah,
actually,
that you can be relevant, as you mentioned.
you see, just for information, I think those people who shop in Lazada, you will be surprised. For example, last week there's a lot of delivery from GDEX, right? Because I think some of the players that deliver for them, they are seeing a lot of issues, and they can just switch to GDEX immediately through our integration. No? So almost like 10,000-20,000 of shipments are diverted to us daily for the last 1 week, just seamlessly without any issues. This is the example of why I think GDEX will continue to be important there. I think when we look at the business, we definitely will not be building something that is exactly like Lazada or Shopee. We definitely need to build sort of businesses that will enhance our business. I think we have to learn how to work with each other. When Lazada and Shopee, both of them actually start in Malaysia, for the first 3-4 years, I think they are using GDEX only. But when their volume grow bigger, I think we didn't take the volume because they actually start to invest in their own last mile, and they actually farm up because they are going too fast, you see. So I think we learn how to work with each other, yeah, rather than sort of you worry about me, I worry about you. There's nothing to be worried about. We just coexist. It's just like maybe the COVID today. We have to learn how to live with them, you see. So I think opportunity is there because the e-commerce is unstoppable, you know. So I think it's how to actually take advantage of the situation, both GDEX and then also the business itself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Teong.
Yeah.
All right, thanks Anna for your question. I think since the time is already running late, we'll just take the one final question in the chat box before we end the session. So Mr. Teong, Wing Tat asked, will this new package initiative alleviate the price war in the industry? And what are players like JNT doing in terms of pricing? I guess he or she meant the startups.
Yeah, basically, I think what actually the industry, the MX members, a lot of them, they will be looking at that. I think one of the initiatives should be have a base price, you know, so to avert the price war. But I think it's not in the package, you see. So anyway, for me, I think the compliance itself, when people start to actually relook at the compliance, I think a lot of them will start to go reverse, you see, starting upping the price a bit, because you cannot actually look at fulfill the compliance without upping the price. Because earlier on, there is no compliance at all, because you promise people you deliver next day, then you deliver 10 days, you know, you charge the people the same price. But if the compliance says that, if you say that you deliver next day and you didn't, then you may be penalized, you know, then it's a different ball game, you see. So I think this package initiative is to make the industry more transparent, and it's like a wrestling match or the boxing. You have a rules and regulation now. It's not a street fight, you see. So I think going forward, it can only be better, you know. And I won't know what happened. I don't have a crystal ball with me in that, but I think it can only be better. It cannot be worse, you see. We have been doing street fight, you know, we bite each other, we kick each other, you know. And looking back, I think for the last few years, when most of the players all bleeding, it's a miracle that we still make money, you know. Yeah, that's how I can see. Hopefully, we will do better, you know. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot for your sharing, Mr. Teong.
Yeah.
With that, I think we shall end our session today. Before we end it, Mr. Teong or Jerry, do you guys have any final remarks that you want to share with our participants?
Yeah, I think for us, you expect GDEX to be more aggressive from now on in both the investment and our expansion. We will start to grow again. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So for now, we shall end our webinar for today. However, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me or any representative from our sales team. We will get back to you on any follow-up questions regarding this webinar. The presentation slides will be made available after the event, and the recording for today's webinar will be uploaded on Bursa Malaysia's website too. So with that, I would like to thank Bursa Malaysia and GDEX again, as well as our sales team and my team for making this to happen today. Last but not least, thanks to all of you for your time and spending your afternoon with us today. Thank you very much for your participation. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye. Take care.